questions directly for you though, Maisie.
She's okay with that. She's okay. She'll wait for her time in the spotlight. It's all good.
My sister in song.
Okay, those eyes. Hello.
Hello, Melody Moko, and welcome to the Sister in Song Sessions.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, and our special guest, of course, little Maisie.
Yes, we have Melody Moko joining us for her first moment in the sun. Well, she's a sister, right? So we got to initiate her early.
What is your experience of being a female country music artist?
I guess like anyone, there's ups and there's downs in being a female in music, and specifically in country music. I think it's a lot better and a lot more accommodating of female artists than some genres seem to be from the outside. But then I think that we're also quite steeped in tradition, and so those roles that we're expected to play as females in the country music industry are kind of hard to break free from. So, although we've got all the opportunities in the world, it sometimes feels like the opportunities are limited to the ones that are okay for women, and the subjects that you can sing about are the ones that are okay for women. And so we kind of have to try and fit into this box as a female in country music, and I'm not very good at fitting into boxes. So I think I played that game for a while of trying to stay in my lane and stay in my box, and I just couldn't continue. I couldn't do that. It just felt so not authentic for me. So I've tried to break free of it with my last record, and I do feel like it hasn't been as scary as I thought.
Your album, Two Kids and a Radio, has been a mark of success for you. And it has such powerful songwriting on it. Some of my absolute favourites, like Hank Wood, Last Cigarette, Coming Up Roses, just incredible tunes that you write. You have 3 kids, little Maisie, who's 6 months old, Magnolia is 3, and Miller is 8. Okay, you're not going it alone. You've got Michael there, but seriously, how do you find time to write? How do you fit it in?
I always think it's funny because I teach a bit of songwriting as well, and I'm around a whole bunch of other writers, particularly younger writers who are less experienced in their writing journey or less far along the path. And we often say, oh, if you've got an idea, and you find an idea, you've got to just sit down, you've got to write it out, you've got to spend your time being creative, just get your guitar, pick it up, write a song. And for me, I can't do that. I can't take time away from my busy schedule at any moment just to write a song. So I actually need to make sure that it's like a scheduled thing for me. So I have to schedule time, basically. To answer that question, I have to find ways around busy life to say, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours on Sunday and put it in the diary so that everybody knows 2 hours on Sunday I'm writing, and I'm not, that's me working. I'm not in my mum mode. I go away from the house most of the time to do it. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have a studio, so I'll go to the studio to write, and I'll make sure that I'm always writing my ideas on the fly as well. So if something comes to me, I've got my phone or I've got an Apple Watch, and I can just sort of do a quick little voice memo, like a spy into my Apple Watch, or I'll write something down or write it on a slip of paper and stick it on the fridge, or, write it up on the calendar. Whenever ideas come to me, I bank it. And then I find time, I schedule time. I have to schedule it in, schedule time to be creative. Before I had kids, I did have that luxury of just being able to spend long evenings, just sitting with my guitar in my mind and letting that process, wash over me and that whole thing. But I just can't do that now. If I get any downtime, I eat a block of chocolate and watch Survivor. So.
Understandably so. When you were starting out, who was the artist that you looked at and thought, I can make my own version of them?
That's a really cool question, because I like how you framed it as I can be my own version of them. Because I think, as young artists, we often look at the artists that are doing fabulous things and we think, I want to be just like them. But I think that's such a counterproductive way to think, because we want to be ourselves, right? We want to be our own version of that person. And there was a bunch for me. I think the obvious one would be Casey Chambers, because, you know, I grew up in that era of Casey being, you know, this person who just cut through genre and cut through, you know, anything that was happening. And she wasn't doing the same thing as everyone else, and she did her own thing, but she, you know, made it work across several different genres. And that was really inspirational. I think even as a kid who had no idea how the industry worked, and, you know, no idea how genre boxes worked or anything like that, I still looked at Casey and went, you know, she's on Rage, and then she's getting a golden guitar, and then she's playing, you know, big festivals, and then she's playing these fabulous shows in theaters. So I think as a young person, someone like Casey was really I really looked up to her, because it seemed like she had it all.
If you could go back in time and talk to that younger version of yourself, what would you say?
Oh, man. You know, I think I feel like there's this pinnacle moment in my life as an artist, or as like a young artist, when I was about 12, and I'd come through the circuit that many of us come through, the talent quest scene. And so I had a pretty locked down idea of what I needed to do to be a country music singer, you know, and I knew that I needed to wear a white dress if I was going to sing a gospel song. And I knew that I needed to, you know, I knew the songs that I needed to sing to win the sections, or what I thought was, you know, to win people over. Get those big notes down pat, you know, make sure that they happen in the right moments, and don't be pitchy, put a cowboy hat on, put your boots on, all the things. So I thought I had it sorted at 12. I thought, you know, this is what you need to do. And then I got to about 13, and I was like, ugh, I don't want to do that. That's not cool. I don't think I want to do country music at all. If that's what I have to do, I'm out. You know, like, I'm done with this. And it wasn't until about 21 that I revisited again the idea of being a country musician. So I spent a whole big chunk of my time really against the idea of country music and being a country musician, because I didn't think that I wanted to do what I was being told to do, what I thought I had to do, you know, fit in this box. I wish I could go back to myself as that 12-year-old and go, honey, you know, you don't need to do that. You don't need to sing those big songs. You don't need to wear that dress. You don't need to look like everyone else. You don't need to compete against everyone, you know, like that feeling of having to compete all the time. I really wish that I could have done that, because I think I would be miles ahead in my journey now if I hadn't have given up for that big chunk of time in my teen years, because it wasn't, you know, it didn't feel right. So I wish I could shake that little girl and say, just do you, you know, that's cool. That's what we want. We want you to be you.
Now, I don't know how to explain how instrumental you've been to my growth as an artist. Mel, we wrote my next single together, but who do you consider, we're here talking about sisters in song and the song Sister in Song, who do you consider your sisters in song?
So I'd have to mention Catherine Britt, I guess, first and foremost, because she and I have had a long history together of making music, of being friends, of making records. I mean, she co-produced my first record as Melody Moko, The Wreckage, and she's just, you know, she's always there for me when I need her, whether it's a song idea or whether it's help with a gig. You know, she'd jump up and do backing vocals. She would be, you know, my biggest sister in song, I guess. But then also there's just so many of them. I mean, Natalie Henry, she's always fabulous for a song idea, whether it's her, you know, tumultuous life that I can steal, you know, steal inspiration from. We need those sisters in song who, when our life is not so rocky, that, you know, they've got a bit of rockiness to add to the equation. And Fanny Lumsden, you know, she took me on pretty early on in her Country Halls tour, and I've become a part of that Fanny Lumsden empire, I guess. So she's one, and definitely Lyn. I would say you 100 times over, because you know, I came through the academy as a younger artist, and I just think having you as someone to look up to, not just in the way that you hold yourself musically, but the way that you hold yourself in a room, you know, the way that you hold space. Yeah, Lyn, you're definitely one. And, you know, there's so many. I mean, we're such a big, beautiful industry of sisters and women. I've just recently spent time with Jen Myers, and I'd never spent time with Maisie one-on-one before. And I would now call her my sister in song too, you know. So I'm collecting sisters all along the journey.
In doing these interviews, Logs and I have just had so much joy to reconnect with beautiful women like yourself during COVID. It's been one of the positives that I've gotten out of COVID is doing the Sister in Song sessions. What are some of the takeaways that you've got from these last 2 years that might be positive, if any?
We have to find positives in this time, and it would be remiss of me to look at the last 2 years and say I can't see any positives, because I put a record out and I got a golden guitar, and, you know, all these wonderful things happened for me. So I have to be able to find positives, I guess, because what a wonderful time for me to, you know, have achieved those things within this time of uncertainty and, you know, this tumultuous time. So I guess I have really learned that being adaptable and finding ways to work around things. So I had to find ways to get my music out there that wasn't just touring with bigger artists. So yeah, I think being adaptable.
You mentioned you want a guitar. Woohoo. I remember sitting there. I think I have a video of it on my phone actually. And you'd think I won it. The way I screamed, I was so excited. How did it feel winning your first golden guitar as New Talent of the Year?
I can't use enough, you know, amazing words to explain how that moment felt, sitting at that table, completely sober because I was very pregnant.
Very good.
And you looked gorgeous.
Thank you. Maisie told me the other day that she thought I looked like a beautiful pregnant mermaid. So, you know, I'll go with that. I love that. So look, it was so incredible. How can you describe something that you've wanted for your whole life? You know, like I mentioned, I was a little girl when I started singing country music. So I've been aware of the golden guitars, you know, as this thing that sits up in the highest regard, you know, since I was tiny. So I've always wanted to win a golden guitar, but I never thought that would actually happen. You know, I guess I've been doing it long enough to have built up such a relationship with so many people that it really felt like we were all having this moment of, yes, finally, you know, we're here. And
yeah,
it was amazing.
Hey, I know you have a baby on your hip, but are you able to sing us something?
I would love to. Do you guys mind if I just belt it out a cappella?
That would be amazing.
Okay, so this one's called Mama. Halfway down the hill, we got $1 left, and I borrowed money for my cigarettes. My phone keeps ringing, no caller ID. All the money I owe is catching up with me. I'll never own a house and move place to place, not week to week, live day to day. I didn't choose the game, well, the game chose me. And my mama keeps asking what to do with me. Yeah, my mama keeps asking what to do with me.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you. Thanks, guys. I couldn't be more proud and more happy that you asked me to be here, so thank you.
Thanks, Melody. Thanks, Maisie. Have a great day.
Love you.
Bye.
My sister